Welcome back to another episode of Echo Chamber with Joe and Trent, the only podcast where two comedians read the Wall Street Journal
because one of us gets it for free from work.
And Joe, would you like to give us a little rundown of the stories we'll be covering
Well,
today?
I'd love nothing more, Trent. Our first story, we're going to jump in from the Wall Street Journal. Genetically engineered pups mirror dire wolves. They've brought back the extinct dire wolf. Why? I'm not sure.
Because they're idiots. Next story.
It'll be quick. It'll be a quick one.
Well, the Democrats, they think Trump may be manipulating the market.
Oh no, is that a crime?
Yeah, well,
unless it's an official presidential act, in which it's not a crime. Well, the Democrats might be fed up with Trump, but Gen Z is fed up with situationships.
Oh.
And they're ready to commit.
Oh, no.
They're ready to commit. We'll hear all about that. And I'm sure the Wall Street Journal definitely knows what they're talking about.
They have their fingers on the pulse of Gen Z. Well, Joe, this is a story near and dear to your heart. Josh.
Oh, my
Josh
God.
Wine.
Oh, my God.
It's the hottest thing you could ever imagine. And the people are trying to capitalize on Josh Wine. What will be the next Josh?
What will be the next Josh? Will it be Jacob? Will it be Justin? Mm-hmm. All wines that actually exist. And in our final story of the podcast, nope, sorry, my final story, not our final story, my final story of the podcast, even a $14,000 handout can't get these singles to marry.
Oh, wow.
We're going to head back to South Korea and hear about the marriage and baby woes plaguing South Korea still.
Gen Z's ready to commit and South Koreans aren't.
Not today.
Well, in our final story, Joe, the Masters, they were last weekend. And apparently you have to put your phone away. And everybody...
It's bullshit.
Everybody...
It's bullshit.
Everybody couldn't tell what was going on in the stock market. They lost a lot of money.
Sounds like a great final story. All of those stories and more on today's Echo Chamber. So did you see those ladies that blasted off into space yesterday? They came back.
I did. I didn't see. Of course, you know me. I have no interest in space. I've said this repeatedly on the podcast. Couldn't be less interested in anything to do with space.
Yeah, you're not a big Ziggy Stardust guy.
No.
Yeah, you don't.
I like regular David Bowie.
You'll be ground control. Yeah.
But anyway, I did see the pictures. I didn't really see any video. But yes, Katy Perry, famous pop superstar.
And like five other women, it was like one of them's just like Gail somebody.
Gail King, she's
Oprah's best friend.
She's Oprah's best friend, and she's a newscaster. And Jeff Bezos' wife.
Whore wife. And then three other fucking, I don't know, billionaire women or something. I
don't know who the other people were.
They blast off into space for 11 minutes, and then they parachute back down. If you watch the video, you can hear the audio of like with the pod dropping and the parachute opening, and they're all like, it sounds like a girl's slumber party. They're like, oh my God. And then it lands, and then they get off, and they act like they accomplished something. Katy Perry gets out and kisses the ground, and is like, this goes out to all the little girls out there. It's like, you're a billionaire. What is this? You're not.
Yeah, you're not
crew.
an astronaut. You're just
you're a fucking passenger on a.
Yeah.
You might as well be going up at a fucking roller coaster.
Yeah, it's not. You're not really going into space. As
didn't
far
do
as
anything.
No, you didn't do anything. You experienced zero gravity, big whoop.
Big whoop.
That's what I say.
You'll never know the thrill of being able to jerk off in zero gravity.
No, but yeah. Also, yeah. It's a great for all these young ladies to aspire to be
Jeff Bezos' wife.
Jeff Bezos' plastic wife.
Plastic wife. Shoot up. Yeah. Or Oprah's best friend.
Oprah's best friend. Or he sang a song fucking 15 years about kissing a girl. He never really capitalized on.
But yeah, and then Katy Perry, she gave this like speech before she didn't give a speech. She was in an interview, and they were like, "So are you like excited? Are you preparing?" And she was like, "Yes, I've always had a love for astrophysics and string theory."
What?
In algebra. And she goes, I've been reading a book about string theory and listening to Cosmos by Neil deGrasse Tyson every night.
Another asshole.
Another asshole.
Maybe one of the most annoying guys in the world.
And she goes, I've been brushing up on math. I can't wait to learn about how the math of it all works and the math. And it just sounded like word vomit.
Yeah.
And also, string theory has nothing to do with going up into space. It has absolutely nothing to do with it.
Well, I'll take your word for it, Joe. I haven't done a lot of research into string theory.
I believe it's about quantum mechanics, which is like the opposite of like the physics they're worried about going up in there.
And where does quantum computing come in?
We'll find out today. No, we won't. We're not going to cover quantum computing. But now I'm kicking us off. We are going to cover something equally as hard to wrap my head around, which is the science of genetics, Trent.
Yes.
And bioengineering things back to life that went extinct thousands of years ago.
Yes.
And call me crazy, I thought dire wolves were only from Game of Thrones. I didn't think these were real things.
Well, you thought they came from the brilliant mind of George R.R. Martin.
George R.R. Martin. I thought they were one of his crazy ideas.
Sure.
But apparently these were real things that lived 13,000 years ago.
I didn't know that either.
Well, they've done a bit of a Jurassic Park thing, and they've brought them back to life. Why? I don't know.
They're idiots. The assholes, pigs.
3 genetically engineered wolves that may resemble extinct dire wolves are trotting, sleeping, and howling in an undisclosed secure location in the U.S. Yeah, right. I doubt it's secure. According to the company that aims to bring back the lost species. Why is there a company that's goal is to bring back the lost species of dire wolves? Also, weren't we like thrilled when they went extinct? They're like our natural predator. It's just like a massive wolf that can like kill a fucking elephant. Why are we bringing back stuff that's going to kill us?
Right, exactly. It killed hundreds of Cro-Magnon man.
And the Neanderthal.
The Neanderthal, yeah.
Well, the wolf pups, 2 of whom are seen not long after birth at Wright. In this picture here, it's pretty adorable.
Yeah,
but they're monsters. So
they're monsters.
They now
fucking put a bullet in their brain.
They should fucking put them all down, like those fucking
Bring
zombies.
them back and put them all down.
It'd be like a Last of Us, just fucking put everyone down. They now range in age from 3 to 6 months old. They have long white hair, muscular jaws, and already weigh in around 80 pounds. They're 80 pounds. And they're 6 months old. On track to reach nearly 140 pounds at maturity.
Good Lord.
They went extinct 10,000 years ago.
That's my weight.
I know, yeah. Imagine a wolf that weighs like you walking around here. So I don't know why they brought him back, but also they said the pups may physically resemble dire wolves, but they, quote, will probably never learn the finishing move of how to kill a giant elk or big deer. Because they won't have opportunities to watch and learn wild dire wolf parent from their wild parents.
Yeah, so what are they going to be, in a damn zoo or something? Locked up in a zoo?
It's going to be like in a lab. So, anyway, those are back. So,
great.
Check those out.
Fuck that. Fuck that. Fuck them and fuck that story.
I'm sorry.
No, it's not you. Well, Joe, this is from the Wall Street Journal. Democrats eye trades before tariff policy shift. Dateline Washington, our nation's capital, our fine nation.
A fine nation.
Democrats are pressing
for taking the economy for no reason.
Democrats are pressing for more information on whether any people close to the Trump administration made stock trades ahead of the president's Wednesday announcement that he was pausing some tariffs, a move that sent stocks soaring after several days of sharp declines.
Yeah, definitely people made some moves in the stock market. He tweeted on Truth Social,
yeah,
great time to buy.
Right, yeah, and you think if he's not truthing that out, if you think he's truthing that out, you think he didn't tell his buddies beforehand. Oh, it's a great time. Party lawmakers want investigations into whether White House officials, Trump family members, or congressional Republicans profited by using non-public information to make trades before Trump's tariff policy change. Republicans have called the speculation unfounded in an effort by Democrats to distract from President Trump's trade agenda.
You're just trying to distract.
Democrats say their concerns center on Trump's comments and actions Wednesday, even as they have produced no evidence of illicit trading. That morning, shortly after the market opened, Trump posted on X, quote, "Be cool," in all capital letters. Which is
Be cool. It's a good time to buy.
Be cool. Everything is going to work out well. The USA will be bigger and better than ever before. A few minutes later, he wrote, "This is a great time to buy." EJT.
Is that a crime to say that?
You would think so, but apparently nothing really matters anymore.
Nothing matters anymore because the Supreme Court ruled that anything he does while the president is above the law.
Yeah, it's a free-for-all. But also, listen, I don't think any president should ever utter the words "be cool." It doesn't feel great.
I'm trying to think of one who could pull it off.
Hours later, he announced a pause in some tariffs, igniting the Wall Street rally. Democrats argued the abrupt shift created a potential opportunity for anyone who got advance word to profit handsomely. Quote, "There's a real question as to whether there was a plan a day or two earlier to pull back the tariffs and make sure people close to the White House and members of Congress potentially were in on advance information," said Representative Darren Soto of Florida. Still, Democrats' options are limited. They are in the minority in both the Senate and House, meaning they don't control committees and they can't
they just can't win
or issue subpoenas without Republican help. And they also face an uphill battle of pressuring federal agencies to open trade programs. So nothing will happen. They can't do anything.
They're completely impotent.
Their hands are tied.
They've been neutered completely. So
the best they can do is sort of
how many Democrats are left in the federal government? Like 6? It's like Bernie Sanders and a couple other guys.
Yeah, Bernie Sanders is going out on tour.
There's like 6 guys. I think the Supreme Court's a 9 alt-right.
Yeah.
Supreme Court. There's like 2 skeleton Democrat skeletors left.
Yeah.
On the Supreme Court.
Exactly. Also, yeah, I mean, nobody's doing anything. That Cory Booker spoke for 25 hours made absolutely no difference whatsoever. It's a fucking meaningless. It's bullshit. Meaningless stuff.
Doesn't mean anything. So instead of fucking Guinness Book of World Records.
Great. Oh, great. You're in the fucking Guinness Book of World Records. Fucking kid in middle school read about you.
What were you doing when the autocracy took form? I was setting a Guinness Book of World Records. Now, is that like a ploy for him to run for president or something? Like, is that like a marketing stunt?
Maybe. I don't know. If he does, it doesn't matter. He'll lose in a landslide. Republicans dismissed allegations of any wrongdoing as a political ploy. Quote, "Oh, for Pete's sake," exclaimed Senator Kevin Cramer from North Dakota.
They're so funny. They always say the same thing when they do like terrible crimes.
Yeah.
They go like when the insurrection happened, they were like, for crying out loud. Like, it was a damn panty raid.
Yeah, it was a damn panty raid.
It was a panty raid.
Nothing wrong with a damn panty raid.
Damn panty raid.
Quote, "It's a symptom of Trump derangement syndrome. How do you call it insider trading when you announce it to the whole world? That ruins the whole thing." That's what he said. Trump has regularly talked up the market, warning against becoming a quote, panicking, and urging Americans.
What?
You didn't hear about that?
Panicking?
A panicking. That's his new thing. Don't become a panicking.
Is that a word?
I believe he made it up.
Like a mannequin with panic?
Panican. I believe he thinks that's like a sort of a new political party.
Panican sounds like a pop emo band from the mid to late 2000s. Like Jack's Mannequin mixed with Panic at the Disco.
Panic Skywalker. Trump, in a meeting in the Oval Office, pointed to billionaire Charles Schwab, which I didn't know was a real guy.
It's a real guy, and what's funny is I saw this video, and in the video, Trump goes, "Charles Schwab, he's a real guy." He says it in the video. He goes, "It's a real guy. He's right there."
Yeah. Oh, that's the quote here.
I didn't know he's still alive.
This is Charles Schwab. Quote, "This is Charles Schwab. It's not just a company. It's actually an individual." And he made $2.5 billion today. A spokeswoman for the financial executive declined to comment.
I saw that video. It was crazy. He's like, "This is Charles Schwab. You made $2.5 billion. This guy made $900 million." I was like, "What is it? Who is this video for?" This is fucking crazy.
Well, it's not for a panicking, I'll tell you that.
Not for a panicking. Yeah, unbelievable. No other president would ever get away with saying anything like that.
Be cool.
Be cool, baby. You think Lincoln said that during the Civil War? Be cool. Be cool. Everybody be cool.
Yeah, but he said it he probably did say it, but he said it in a high-pitched voice.
Yeah. They always said he had a high-pitched voice.
It's like, who gives a fuck what he sounds
like? Or is that what they were trying to describe, like the gay voice? Was he just like... My fellow Americans.
Be cool.
Yeah, because they also say he's gay now.
Did they say that? I didn't hear that.
Yeah, it was a whole...
Not my Lincoln.
Not my Lincoln either. They just retro-dated him as gay.
He married a fucking crazy bitch.
Yeah, but apparently he fucking fucked a guy or something. Yeah. I mean, who hasn't fucked a guy?
I mean, yeah.
Does that make you gay?
That's so gay.
Well, I guess he wasn't ready to commit to him. But speaking of not ready to commit,
Oh.
this is from the Wall Street Journal. Fed up with situationships, Gen Z is ready to commit.
Wow.
The vague relationships that rule the dating scene run on, quote, guessing fumes. Now, I think...
But isn't that what everybody says and we're all lying? I'd love to commit. I'm ready to commit. And you don't mean it.
Yeah, it's definitely what people say. And also, I have a couple thoughts about the story. It's basically a non-story. I don't think that any of this is accurate. But over dinner at a recent spring evening, Rachel Green listened patiently as her friend droned on about needing a permanent job. Then she erupted. "You're about to buy an apartment with your long-term boyfriend," 24-year-old Green reminded her companion. "Meanwhile, I've just come out of a 6-month situationship."
Cry me a fucking river.
This sounds like the worst dinner party yet. Could you imagine being at a worst dinner party?
Jesus, no. That sounds
What
like
a shit
nightmare.
friend. You're trying to lament about you don't have a job?
Right.
And they go, "You have a boyfriend."
You have a boyfriend, you're about to buy an apartment.
"I've got a 6-month situationship."
Be cool, Rachel.
Which, fucking, I am so done with the term situationship.
Yeah.
So,
Used to be called dating.
Yeah, exactly. You should be just called
Casual dating.
Casual dating. Gen Z came of age in a swipe right world, Trent, where instant access to dates further blurred the lines between friendships, hookups, full-fledged relationships. The loose nature of these situationships, romantic entanglements that exist somewhere between friendship and fidelity, was meant to limit fallout and maybe even help couples take baby steps towards commitment. Green and the man she was in a situationship with had stayed at each other's apartments, eaten together in restaurants, and met each other's friends. But they didn't celebrate relationship milestones or go on vacation together because that would have removed the spontaneity. So yeah, did you were you curious about that?
Well, I was curious about what the spontaneity.
Yeah. But the ambiguous nature of dating today means that some Gen Z daters don't understand their status themselves. Yeah. Quote, "I'm often the one to tell my clients that they're even in a situationship," said Abby Metcalf.
Some dumb therapist.
Literally. Abby Metcalf, a psychologist and relationship expert. Bullshit job based in Berkeley, California. She noted that bullshit place filled with bullshit people named fucking Abby Metcalf. She noted that so much of what young people do, including dating, is plagued by fear and anxiety. When people act on feelings instead of logic, they end up consciously or unconsciously feeling something unwanted, lonely, bored, rejected, sad, abandoned. They reach out to this uncertain thing like cotton candy. Lots to see on the outside, but definitely doesn't fill you up when you're hungry, Metcalf said.
But it's a nice treat at the county fair.
Yeah, this is a nice treat at the county fair. Fuck off, Abby Metcalf. Yeah, maybe some people just want some cotton candy.
Yeah.
Even experts have caught off guard by how sticky situationships can be. Julie Nugent, who works as a love coach in Los Angeles.
Jesus Christ almighty.
Imagine being a love coach, telling your family you're a love coach. I'm actually a love coach.
Well, our daughter Julie, the family says that the family Christmas card, our daughter Julie, she's a love coach.
She's become a love coach here in Los Angeles. She endured tortured into a situationship when she turned 30. Good. Quote, "We never talked about our feelings or even when we'd see each other next because we were so caught up having fun," Nugent.
No, God forbid you have fun.
Said of the mathematician she had been seeing.
Mathematician?
A mathematician and a love coach. And they just couldn't.
A tale as old as time.
And they couldn't work it out. They couldn't find a way to make it work.
Oh no!
When it ended, she had no closure or clarity. Just a lingering question: what were we? Now, why do we need? You were people that didn't work.
Yeah,
you fucked each other.
You casually dated
you fucking
for a while.
Slurped some cum from a mathematician, and he was and he didn't commit.
Yeah,
that's what you were. The big whoop. Also. Okay, so I'll just wrap. There's only two more things.
Yeah.
Now Nugent recognized the importance of entering a situationship with clear intentions. Who deliberately enters a situationship is what I'm wondering.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm short term or up in the long.
Yeah.
Which is every relationship you've ever been in.
Yeah. Yeah. Either short or long. If you start developing deeper feelings, don't shy away from having honest conversation about where you started, she said. Even if it risks losing the connection, your emotional clarity and self-respect matter more.
No shit. They need a whole fucking article about this.
Who wants a 30-year-old love coach? What the fuck do you know about anything?
Yeah, give me fucking Dr. Ruth.
Yeah, I want an 80-year-old lady who's, lost.
You can't imagine ever having sex a day in her life.
Yeah.
Apparently she's an expert on it.
She's an expert on it. Some Gen Z daters are leaving casual dating behind altogether, turning to matchmaking, speed dating, and more intentional options instead. Yeah, I'm sure that'll all fucking work out. Now, what I don't understand, to me, it just sounds like they're just getting older.
Yes.
It's not like some breakthrough, but of course, every generation has to like feel like they invented everything.
Yeah.
So they're getting older. They don't want to just like fucking suck from random people anymore, and they want to be in relationships because they're getting into their late 20s or whatever, mid 20s.
Yeah.
That's what every generation goes through.
Exactly. That's what the great terrific song Landslide is about. Well, Joe, this is from the Wall Street Journal. This is from the eating and drinking section of the Wall Street Journal.
The eating and drinking section.
Yes, this is actually from the eating and drinking section. So, headline: Everybody knows Josh. What brand can match success? And now this is sort of a near and dear to your heart, Joe.
That's true.
Because if you don't know, maybe people only listen to the podcast. I can't imagine why.
I can't imagine how they would have found it.
They would know that.
I don't know how that would happen.
You made I believe maybe a trilogy of
it was actually a quadrilogy
of comedic sketches.
Yeah, made some sketches about Josh Wine.
Josh Wine.
And then it became memeified.
Yeah.
After. But it also blew up because like when I made the first one, it was like something everyone had heard of, but not really.
Yes.
But now it's like everywhere.
It's everywhere.
It's huge. It's
skyrocketing. It's the most popular wine you could ever imagine. And they once promised you to send free wine.
They got a little busy.
They got a little busy, yeah.
Yeah, they never did send me the free wine.
Yeah. Quote, I love that it's called Josh, says Mrs. K, played by Kate McKinnon.
What?
In a Saturday Night Live skit from a few years back.
Oh, yeah, when they stole my sketch?
They actually did. Regarding her wine glass, wonderingly, she adds.
I don't want to be accusational, but I know that a couple of Saturday Night Live followers or writers do follow me. But
well, yeah, we don't. We're
gonna put that. I'm just gonna put that out there. I'd like to put that out there,
Joe. It's not the first time.
I'd like to put that out on my podcast.
Has been accused of stealing lately, but quote: "It's a neat name for a wine." The joke, and this is what this author thinks the joke is. How could anyone anywhere possibly be encountering Josh for the very first time? I don't think that's the joke in the sketch. Now, I don't really remember the sketch.
No, I don't think so either.
But I think the joke is that it's a dumb name for a wine.
It's the joke.
Yeah.
It's the whole joke.
So she's already overthinking it. Not only one of this country's best-known wine
You told me that somebody
brands,
writes for the eating and drinking section would miss the joke?
Not only one of this country's best-known wine brands, but also one of its best-selling wines, Josh currently has a total annual production of some 7.5 million cases. Winemakers everywhere are trying to figure out how to produce the next Josh. But how I wondered, did it happen in the first place? And is the making of this mega brand replicable? My first call was to Joseph Carr, the 65-year-old founder of Josh Cellars at his home in Cape Cod. Carr revealed that the idea to call the brand Josh, which had been his father's nickname, came from his mother, Jean.
Who gets nicknamed Josh?
I don't know. And it doesn't say his father's real name.
I think it was like Jack or Jim or something.
Jack or Jim. Josh. Joseph. Jean. It's the real J family. I think they're all a couple of jackasses. But, Carr described his father as a lumberjack. noting that he was raised in a small working-class town in upstate New York in a family that did not drink wine. The message was clear. Josh isn't some Napa billionaire's vanity project, but an everyman drink named after a blue-collar guy who actually preferred beer.
So here's a wine from people who know nothing about wine.
Yeah, there's a wine for people who think wine is gay.
Yeah.
When Carr first conceived of Josh in 2005, he was no amateur, but a savvy wine professional with years in the trade, including a stint as president of Mildera Blass,
Yes,
the wine division of Foster Brewing Company. Carr was also producing 2 modestly successful Joseph Carr wines, a Sonoma Coast Chardonnay and a Cabernet from Napa. But sourcing fruit in Napa had become a challenge. Quote, the price of grapes doubled, and I was going broke.
I don't know how they do it.
Yeah. In a cost-saving move, he decided to try selling the 1,200 cases of wine himself. He drove all over the East Coast with cases in the back of his 2000 Land Rover Discovery. Quote, it took a year to sell out of the wine, Carr recalled. Carr recalled one such drive from his home in Cape Cod to a wine shop in Nyack, New York, an 8-hour round trip to sell 1 case of wine. But in-person appearances gave Carr the chance to tell his story. He began signing every wine bottle he sold, a clever sales tactic that turned the emptied bottle into a souvenir. And now how that turns it into a souvenir, I have no idea.
Who's going to drink a $13 bottle of wine and go, oh, he signed it?
I
got to keep that.
I have. Oh, would you like to see something interesting? I have Joseph Carr's signature autograph.
This guy sold me a very mediocre bottle of wine, and he signed it, and he loves beer.
Yeah. So, would you like to have sex?
I could see it. Yeah, I could see the whole arc.
By 2011, sales and production had increased tenfold. There was a Josh Cellars Cabernet, a Josh Cellars Chardonnay, and Josh was now a nationally distributed brand. That year, William Deutsch, founder and chairman of Deutsch Family Wine and Spirits, and his son Peter Deutsch, the company CEO, reached out to Carr about a potential partnership. The Deutsches thought the brand had potential. Quote, we saw an interesting story. He was honoring his dad, and he thought he designed a beautiful label, said Bill Deutsch. But they saw room for improvement, too. We had to fix the winemaking. We liked the wine, but we didn't love it. So they liked the name, they liked the label, but the wine sucked cock. Why did the Deutsch family decide that out of all the modest mid-tier Cabernets in the world, Josh Cellars was the one they wanted to own? Beyond the interesting story and attractive label, Bill Deutsch also saw potential for growth. For Peter Deutsch, the brand was the right intersection between elegant and approachable. And for Kleinman, there was the appeal of Carr himself. The bet was that Joe's story would resonate with Josh drinkers, which are boomers and Gen X. Okay. The Deutsches have yet to discover another Josh. For Bill Deutsch, it's a matter of finding a wine that truly stands out. Quote, you have to have something unique, a blue ocean item, he said, using a term for creating an opportunity where one does not exist. There's also the matter of the market. Deutsch noted, wine consumption is down, planned tariffs only increase concern. There's a lot of tariff talk in this episode of Echo Chamber.
Which, doesn't apply to them.
No. I wondered if it
helps them, but
I wondered if Rodolphe Bollinger, vice president of wine and the new world wine buyer for Total Wine and More, had thoughts about the next Josh. Josh is, after all, the best-selling table wine brand under $20 at the chain's 280 stores. There are a couple of remarkable things about Josh, he said. It's a breakout in multiple aisles of the store with line extensions that all worked. It's unique to have a brand that pumps in all categories. So if the timing is right and the market improves, I think I have the formula down. A pronounceable name, an appealing backstory, a decent flavor profile, a charismatic entrepreneur with a sturdy truck, plus a dash of promotional pixie dust. And if you'd like to email this lady, who wrote this article, you can email her at wine@wallstreetjournal.com.
Okay. So if you've got the next big Josh, you can email that lady.
Yeah.
I don't understand how they've scaled it from like 150,000 bottle or cases to 7 million in like the last 5 years or whatever. How do they? Every bottle tastes the same. I've bought multiple for these sketches.
Yeah.
And then they lay around. I have a glass of Josh.
Yes, I've seen you. I've
You've
seen
seen
you have
me
a
drink
glass of
Josh.
Josh.
You've
Yeah.
seen me drink
You
Josh.
after a nice steaming hot shower, you wrap yourself in a robe and perhaps turn on one of your stories.
I turn on one of my stories. And somebody asks me a question. I go, don't. Not right now.
You're sitting there on your couch, swirling your Josh. Yeah,
It all tastes the same, but wine is a fickle thing. The grapes grow, and there's how do you produce enough of the exact grapes and make it the same way? It's supposed to change every year. It's supposed to have different, like a 08 and 09, blah, 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 blah.
Yes.
They've managed to make it feel like a beer or a spirit or like a soda pop where it's the same every time, no matter what.
Really?
Yeah. And I think that's why it's so successful, because people know exactly what they're getting.
Right.
With other stuff, it's like, this is the 21, the 22.
Oh, this your sucks cock.
Yeah, there's a fucking famine. rootworm that year.
Yeah.
Rain.
Interesting.
A lot of rain. So I don't know how they're doing it, but I have my suspicions.
You think there's maybe some nefarious activity?
I think there might be foul play, Trent. There might be some foul play.
They accuse Josh of foul play.
Well, I don't know how they do it. I don't know how the next Josh is going to do it either.
Yeah. Nobody knows, apparently.
Well, Trent, this is from the Wall Street Journal. Even a $14,000 handout can't get these singles to marry. South Korea revs up matchmaking efforts. Quote, I don't want my parents to find out. Seoul, South Korea.
Dateline Seoul.
Lee Yoon-jin has a secret fear. The 31-year-old barista worries her parents will find out about all the cash handouts and dating services local governments are offering to reverse South Korea's shrinking birth rate. Quote, they will make me apply, she says with a big sigh.
Oh, no.
State-sponsored dating has become a phenomenon here. It is spread out across the country as its fertility rate slumps, falling to an average of 0.75 children per woman, about a third of the figure needed to keep the population level stable.
Yeah. Well, that's a story we've covered before. Nobody's having children. And apparently, to some, I think it's a great thing.
I don't see what's wrong with it.
But some people are very worried about it, Elon Musk in particular.
Yeah, well, because the economy has to keep growing.
Yes. More.
We need more workers.
Yes. I read a story. This is in the New Yorker, not to plug another.
Wouldn't want to do that.
But they said if, particularly in America, if the birth rates stay where they are and they keep declining, in hundreds of years, the population, the majority of the population will be Amish people. Amish people and Orthodox Jews are apparently the only people that are having kids.
Yeah, because they have like 9 kids each.
Yeah.
Well, that'll be an interesting country. I don't really know how. You can't sell them any of the product. I mean, I don't know. They're gonna have to buy in on the larger economy, but I don't know if that's gonna happen.
Yeah, I don't know.
Or they'll take over.
They'll take over. Maybe it's for the best, actually.
It seems like the Amish people have something figured out.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get into the Orthodox. City governments launch matchmaking services and other incentives to boost the world's lowest birth rate. The national government has expanded parental leave and increased cash payouts to newlyweds. In South Korea, socially conservative country, marriage is by and large the only route to having children. Fewer than 5% of births come from outside of wedlock. Shahagu, a district...
Batman's most villainous foe.
Shahagu, Batman's most villainous foe. One of the members of the Council of Doom. Frazagul, Shahagu. A district in South Korea, second largest city of Busan, offers singles who match at its events around $340 to spend on dates. I would do this all the time.
Wow. That's a lot.
And those who get married receive $14,000, period, up front. Jeez. And are feted with housing subsidies and more cash to cover pregnancy-related expenses and international travel.
Wow.
No participant has claimed the prize for
Holy
marriage.
shit.
No one has taken the $14,000.
I think I could find a nice lady to marry over there in South Korea.
I would just do it. Pull what Chris and Mariah did. Just do it for like they didn't even think about it. They just immediately got married.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out later.
Yeah. and they figured it out.
And they figured it out.
It all worked out, yeah.
Buyong Group, a construction firm in Seoul, pays its employees roughly $75,000 each time they have a baby. Yoido Full Gospel Church, one of the world's largest congregations in the world, gives members $1,380 for each childbirth. But marriage is still a tough sell for many South Korean singles. And the reason is they have to work so much. They're like fucking stuck at work.
Oh.
In South Korea, around 42 districts launched matchmaking events between 2022 and last August. And among roughly 4,000 singles who participated, just 24 couples got married, according to lawmaker Lee Yoon-hee's office. At a parliamentary hearing, the lawmaker called the local district's initiatives self-promotional and embarrassing. Shin Dong-woo put off marriage for years while training to be a lawyer. Now the 37-year-old runs his own practice in Seoul, giving him the kind of stable employment many South Koreans see as a prerequisite to marriage.
Yes.
Still, when a friend encouraged him to apply for a government-organized Valentine's Day matchmaking event, he hesitated, thinking about all the paperwork he would need to prepare to prove his identity, residence, and employment. So that's the problem. They go, we'll give you these incentives, and then you have to write down every fucking thing.
They make it impossible.
I think you just have to hand over all your information. Yeah. It's more troublesome than you'd think. In a large room lined with painted canvases, each attendee had to lock eyes with everyone of the opposite sex for 10 seconds to test for chemistry.
Sounds like a nightmare.
Then came 5-minute chats with 15 people and dinner over bingo.
The fuck? What are they, 70 years old?
Sex was in the air. So
Nothing gets them going like bingo.
I think the matchmaking things also suck cock is the problem.
Yeah.
They suck cock and no one wants to do it.
But isn't that like the same all over? I can imagine going to like a speed dating thing.
Oh, it seems humiliating.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it'd be losers.
Yeah.
all
fucking,
losers.
Yeah. I mean, I couldn't imagine doing it. Speed dating, any kind of preordained matchmaking thing where you pay money or get money or anything like that. It's just brutal. Yeah. But Kim Min-ki is proof that government setups can stick. He met his wife over 6 years ago through, quote, Roller Coaster of Love, a matchmaking program.
That was an MTV show.
I thought so too. The now 38-year-old teacher recalled arriving 30 minutes early to the event to find someone already there. A tall woman in an elegant green dress.
A tall woman in South Korea, 5'7".
A tall, cool woman in a green dress.
5'7", yeah.
Yeah, she was a giant. They exchanged pleasantries and chatted as 28 other participants trickled in. By the end of the day-long itinerary consisting of relationship gurus lecture, speed dating, and a group outing to the theme park, Kim and Shin were discussing how many children they wanted.
Whoa, there you go.
It also sounds like these people are fucking weird.
Yeah.
They both got there an hour early.
Yeah.
And then they're leaving it talking about how many kids they want.
Yeah, after they go to the rides at the theme park.
These people belong in the matchmaking service.
Yeah.
They're married now, and within 6 months, they had a son.
Within 6 months, they...
Oh, no, sorry. I read that.
Within 6 months, that's wow.
World's fastest pregnancy.
They had a preemie.
They immediately had a kid. No, sorry. They were married within 6 months, and then now they have a kid.
Oh, okay.
The city offered a lakeside public park for the wedding ceremony free of charge.
They paid for the wedding?
They paid for the whole fucking wedding.
Damn.
But the couple booked a different wedding hall.
They say that fucking looks like shit.
Yeah.
It looks like dog shit.
So nothing the government can come up with is good. That's the problem. All these government ideas they're awful. They're like they suck.
Yeah.
Suck cock. So
here's my idea.
Yeah.
Because obviously, it's I guess it's the same all over. The world fucking sucks now. It's a awful hellscape. But
this podcast has taught me anything.
But I think people our age aren't having kids because they don't want to bring a kid into the world. The future looks rather bleak.
Right.
But if you do decide to have a kid, and you purposely decide to have a kid, and if the world hasn't improved. By the time the kid reaches 10 years old, the kid is allowed to shoot you in the head.
Could do a homicide-suicide. Yeah. But But I say, I mean, if they don't want to have sex and have babies, and that's just the way she goes.
That's the way that the world goes around.
I mean, they're like pandas. They're trying to. They just won't. Fuck.
Yeah, they're like pandas, and
the South Koreans are like pandas.
They're exactly like pandas.
That's what I'm
I
saying.
mean, is that so wrong?
Is that bad to say?
Is that wrong to say that they're
On
exactly
paper,
like
they're like pandas.
They're exactly like pandas. I'm
They
sorry.
put them together. They do everything they can.
Yeah.
They just want to,
But if the pandas go extinct, I mean, in hundreds of years, though, some fucking evil scientist will bring them back to life anyway. So it doesn't.
Yeah, they can always
matter.
resurrect South Koreans. Now they won't be able to take down a deer.
They can't take that a deer. Yeah, they'll be in a lab. Running around a lab.
They won't be able to do K-pop because they have no one to look up to.
Right, exactly. So there's some pros and cons.
They'll look like a South Korean.
Yeah, they'll look like a South Korean. They'll sound like a South Korean. Walk like a South Korean. Well, Joe, on our final story, this is from the Wall Street Journal, and it deals with Wall Street.
My God.
Headline: Wall Street's wild ride was news at the Masters. Augusta National is one of the last places where fans are forced to disconnect.
That and the
I didn't know
Comedy
that.
Cellar.
That in the Comedy Cellar or a Dave Chappelle show.
Phone in the bag.
I support. I think everything should do that.
I think so too. I wish someone would come to my house at 9 a.m. and make me put my phone in the bag. Shove my face in my laptop.
I agree. Dateline: Augusta, Georgia. Steve Vernon III and Cage Brown.
For real people?
Yeah. Should have Cage, Kage Brown.
Cage Brown.
Nice to meet. Damn fine to meet you.
Cage Brown. She, her. Hello, are you?
Well, they should have been glued to the stock market this week. Vernon works in finance while Brown is the chief investment officer at a real estate firm. But on Wednesday, these friends from Chicago were among the only people in their orbit not thinking about tariffs. That's because they were holed up inside one of the few places on Earth where tens of thousands of people who would have been feverishly checking their portfolios instead willingly left their phone behind.
How are you supposed to check Truth Social to see that this is a good time to buy?
Good time to buy. Great time to buy. And how will I know when to be cool? They went to the Masters, Joe.
The Masters.
Yes. Attending the first major of the golf season at Augusta National Golf Club means adhering to the club's strict ban on cell phones. And considering that the threat of sweeping tariffs had wiped out trillions of dollars on Wall Street and fanned fears of a recession over the last week, they didn't really mind unplugging. Quote, "It's a respite from negativity," Vernon said. Next to the practice putting green, "It feels so good to be surrounded by a bunch of people who disconnected."
Now, are you disconnected for like days on end, or is it just while you're on the green?
I don't know.
I would think they would give you your phone back when you're going back to the hotel.
When you're going back to the hotel, you would assume so, yeah. But then
the Wall Street's closed.
Yes, exactly. Wall Street's closed.
Oh.
Nothing you can do about it. Yeah, you're gone. You're gone for the whole day watching Tiger.
Tiger.
Rory.
The greats.
It didn't quite feel so good when they were told by a Wall Street Journal reporter that President Trump had announced a 90-day pause on many tariffs, and that while they were walking the Augusta fairways, they had unwittingly missed out on a day of historic gains in the stock market. Quote, "The market's ripping?" Brown asked.
It's ripping.
The market's ripping?
It's ripping like you wouldn't believe.
Yes, the market was in fact ripping. The news sent stocks soaring, with the NASDAQ adding 12% for its biggest gain in 24 years, while the S&P 500 grew 9.5% for its best day since 2008. And some of the only people who had no idea about the historic turnaround worth trillions of dollars were the same ones whose livelihoods ride on every micro movement.
Oh my God!
So these poor people,
poor rich people,
they just can't catch a damn break.
Oh my God!
They're at the greens of Augusta.
They just can't catch a break. Now I worry that the women who went up to space, they may have not been able to trade that day either.
Yeah, that is a worry.
I think that was like the same day.
Sunday it was the same day. Attendees for the first round were equally clueless about the market's backslide a day later. The Masters tends to attract a wealthy crowd of people who would normally be closely monitoring market movements. Many of the club's members are titans of industry, and many of the fans, or patrons as the club calls them, don't think twice about ticket prices that cost thousands of dollars on the secondary market.
That's so cool of them.
I don't think twice about it.
But that's just what kind of guy I am.
Yeah. Yet, unlike other big-time sporting events that have a disproportionate number of well-to-do attendees, such as the Super Bowl, going to the Masters also comes with a bargain. Cell phones are forbidden. Anyone here who urgently needs to get in touch with the outside world is forced to rely on banks of courtesy landlines situated at various spots around the course.
Oh, all you have to do is go to the landline and call Wall Street and go buy,
buy,
sell.
Hang up. You don't even wait for them to answer.
Yeah, go back to to spitting sunflower seeds and watching golf. Fuck. Buy.
For those fans whose fortunes aren't tied to the ups and downs of the stock market, leaving cell phones behind has turned into one of the surprising appeals of attending the Masters. Stephen Breeding, who's retired from a career in nuclear power, said if he were at home, he would have spent the day closely monitoring the market. Once he got to Augusta, why would you do that? I mean, if you're retired, I guess you have money in the stock market, sure.
That's like all you got left.
It's all you got left, yeah. You think,
get a life.
Yeah, there's other ways to spend your time.
Yeah, I mean, who closely monitors the... What, I mean... I don't know.
Yeah. Once he got to Augusta, however, he had a completely new thought. Quote, people ought to detox from their phones routinely, he says. That goes beyond following the news of the day. At a time when it seems as though every spectator at a sporting event is glued to social media, they're trying to capture a video of
I don't need some rich asshole in Augusta to tell me to detox from my phone. So you fucking went to the Masters and they took it away from you.
Everyone should do this. Everyone should be forced to be separated from their phone.
Fucking cocksucker. Gonna go watch golf.
Well, Joe.
I'm still over here shoveling shit. I've got nothing in the fucking stock market.
Yeah, I've got nothing in the stock market. I lose money the old-fashioned way, trying to clothe and feed myself.
Yeah.
Provide shelter.
Yeah, by putting it in my savings and it deteriorates its value as the years go by.
Yeah, because the fucking government lowered the interest rate to fucking pennies on the dollar. Anyway, so fans here for the first and second rounds on Thursday and Friday will be the next ones to spend the day in the dark about the roller coaster for stocks. Players are scheduled to tee off before the market opens, and they'll finish long after it closes. But everyone here, when play wraps up, won't have that problem. Fortunately for them, Wall Street shuts down for the weekend.
Oh, I mean, it's so nice that they get a weekend off. From this roller coaster trip.
Yeah, I mean, thank God.
From this absolute fucking roller coaster.
Thank God they have the weekend to relax, take a load off after they watched people play golf.
Dude, I couldn't even imagine, watching the Masters without looking at my phone. Like, the Masters is like a sedative. Like, all I remember is my dad would have it on, and he'd be passed out in his chair with a half-eaten bologna sandwich in his hand.
Yeah.
You put it out, like, you're out like instantly.
Yeah.
It just knocks you right out.
Yeah. You put it on to take a nap.
To go to sleep.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
It's the same reason you would watch After Midnight.
And with that, that has been another episode of Echo Chamber Podcast.
Yes, that's right. Don't forget to like, subscribe, rate, review, all that shit.
Tell your friends, tell your mom, tell your dad, and join us next week for another ep.
You got that right, Joe. As always, this is Trent Mabry signing out.
And this is Joe Nunnink signing off. Bye-bye.